just went back and counted up every Los Angeles Charger and Las Vegas Raider Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer, and bust drafted in the first round of every single draft ever. And here's the completely unbiased answer as to which team won and which team is better at drafting at the NFL Draft. First of all, let me explain the scoreboard for y'all. For every Pro Bowler that these teams land in the first round, because that's the expectation that you get an all-star in the first round, I'm giving the team 2 points. And if you exceed Pro Bowler and drafted a Hall of Famer in the first round, 5 points. But for every bust that each of these teams drafted, I'll be subtracting 1 point. At the end, the team with the most points will be crowned as the better team at drafting players. And we're starting this off at the 1970 merger, where technically the first NFL draft went down, because before that, the league was split into 2 leagues, the AFL and NFL. And that goes all the way back to the 1930s, and I don't think you or I have time to sit here and talk about 100 years of football, as much as I'd love to. And the Raiders started off the 70s with a bang. They drafted 3 Pro Bowlers in their first 5 years, and one of the only Hall of Fame punters ever, Ray Guy. My Chargers unfortunately didn't draft a single Pro Bowler until the year 1975. But thankfully for my Chargers, didn't get too out of hand, because the Raiders traded all their first round picks from 1976 to 1980 and missed on their next 4 first round selection. And finally, the then San Diego Chargers caught fire.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
They drafted a total 10 Pro Bowlers in their next 13 drafts. In this time span, the Chargers drafted Hall of Fame tight end Kellen Winslow, as well as the late, great Junior Seau.
Chargers select Junior Seau, linebacker, USC.
Just like that, the Chargers had completely flipped the tide on this scoreboard. And the Raiders would respond by drafting 2 USC greats in back-to-back drafts, solidifying their offensive line and grabbing running back Marcus Allen. But even though Oakland would swing and miss 3 years in a row in 85, 86, and 87, in 1988, they had 3 first-round picks. And they landed 2 of those picks, with one of them being Raiders legend and current Hall of Famer wide receiver Tim Brown. When you draft the wide receiver at 6th overall, better be a Hall of Famer. But then the Raiders would miss on 6 of their next 7 first round selections until they would draft one of my most hated players of all time.
Raiders!
More of a hate him cause I ain't him type situation. In the 1995 draft, Charles Woodson will become a Raider. And meanwhile, in 1995, the Chargers were going to the Super Bowl, even though they missed or did not have a first round selection for every NFL draft of the 1990s. I don't even know how it's possible to go to the Super Bowl and miss all of your picks for an entire decade. And that's the only Super Bowl the Chargers have went to this day. And we're about to get into some of the draft picks that they've made since then, because this is where things get really ugly for the Raiders. Go ahead, prepare your hate comments now, Raiders fans. At least we have some Super Bowls. At least we won Super Bowls 50 years ago. You can have those Super Bowls because even though they drafted Pro Bowlers Sebastian Janikowski and Namni Asamoah to open up the 2000s, the Raiders would miss their draft pick in 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, trade their first round picks away in 2011 and 2012 for kind of a washed up Richard Seymour and Carson Palmer, and miss again in 2013.
Do you consider yourself the biggest bust in NFL draft history?
When you look at it that way, I say I must have been the best to be the biggest, right?
Now the Raiders would grab future Hall of Famer Khalil Mack in 2014 and draft both Pro Bowlers Amari Cooper and Josh Jacobs in the following years. But even going into the 2010s, they draft Carl Joseph in the first round, miss on Darion Conley, miss on Clinton Farrell, Jonathan Abram, Damon Arnett, Henry Ruggs, and man, I will never forget the Alex Leatherwood pick thanks to my friend Joe.
As long as it's defense, I'm happy.
In the 2021 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Alex Leatherwood, tackle, Alabama.
What is this crap? In a draft full of offensive linemen, in a draft full of offensive linemen, Quiddy Pay. I don't care who you went. If you took a defensive player right here, you did a great job. What the hell, Mike Mayock? I thought you were a god. I thought you were a scouting god, and you come in here, you take Clinton Farrell a couple years ago. We gave you the damn pass, and now you're taking a tackle. Trade down. This hat makes me more legit than Mike Mayock and John Gruden right now.
You might as well just, when it comes to a mock draft, start searching through the back half of a second round pick and just being like, all right, Darius Hayward Bay, 50th. We might take him at 7. Like, that's the only way. That's the only way. Like, you just start searching 3rd round picks and being like, all right, that's the guy we might take in the first.
We're going to leave Tyree Wilson as a to be determined, and I'm going to go on the last string of Chargers picks to decide who won this. But first, make sure you like the video so that way the algorithm knows to send this video out to more NFL fans like you and me. I'm NFLMike, an NFL historian and content creator. I make videos about the NFL 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and twice on Sundays. So if you're an NFL fan, be sure to also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications if you haven't already so you can be here every time I upload. I've got about 5 videos in edit right now, so this next week is going to be banger after banger after banger, and they're all on the NFL draft. And if you guys have any suggestions on my content, or you just want to leave some thoughts on the topic of the day, down in that comment section and let me know. Let's talk about the Chargers 2000s drafts. Chargers drafts in the 2000s have gone splendid. They drafted a once-in-a-century player, LaDainian Tomlinson, in the year 2001 with their first pick of the century.
The left side, Tomlinson sidestep. Hello, history books.
The team did miss here and there throughout these drafts, but a few years later, they would draft Eli Manning and then acquire Phillip Rivers in the same draft. The next season, they draft the future All-Pro Sean Merriman and a future Pro Bowler Antonio Cromartie in the next draft after that. 3 consecutive drafts with hits for the Chargers. Now, LA would miss in 07, 08, and 09, but go on an absolute tear in the 2010. Ryan Matthews' career wasn't very long, but he did make a Pro Bowl and was drafted in the first round by the Chargers. People forget, but King Melvin Ingram also was drafted in the first round to LA, or back then was San Diego. Jason Verrett was on track to have an amazing career before his injuries, but he made a Pro Bowl first. Melvin Gordon, similar story to all the other guys I just said, but he made a Pro Bowl first. And of course, you guys know Joey Bosa's been an All-Pro, Pro Bowler in this league. Derwin James. They got Rashawn Slater with the 12th pick a few years ago. And then, yeah, never will forget it.
The 6th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Justin Herbert, quarterback, Oregon.
Justin Herbert, drafted with the 6th overall pick in the 2020 draft. And keep in mind, their few misses within this time span was borderline Pro Bowlers Corey Liuget, Mike Williams, even DJ Fluker. It's actually pretty sad the Chargers haven't had more success, considering that out of like the last 25 drafts, they've hit on 20 of them. We're gonna leave Quentin Johnston as to be determined, and Zion Johnson as well. But here's the final score. Raiders fans, isn't this embarrassing? The score is almost as embarrassing as another game that I recently watched. Thank you for tuning in to another NFLMike Bang. Let's keep this train rolling. Check out one of my next videos. Head to the NFLMike channel, binge watch some shorts, or just go and do whatever you want to do next. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe and like the video.